My name's Dionne. I'm one of the directors here of special ed here at KVEC. We're so glad you're here. I'm going to turn it over to Chassidy.
Okay. Good morning, guys. So good to see you all this morning. So if you have looked at the schedule, you see that we're covering 4 broad topics. We're covering eligibility, and you're going to see those in the room: eligibility, present levels, opportunities to respond, and co-teaching. So I want you to think about those for just a second. And we're going to do 4 corners, the building blocks of support. So each of these areas affect student learning in some way, in different ways. So I want you to choose one of these 4 that with your experience that most shapes how your students engage, participate, and make progress. So just which one of those 4 sticks out to you for your students? So think about that for just a second. Okay, so go ahead. I want you to go ahead and stand up and just move to one of the 4 corners that you think answers this question: co-teaching, eligibility, present levels, or opportunities to respond. Interesting. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I'm going to give you 2 minutes within your group to talk about why did you choose this topic, and then one challenge or success story that you have experienced within your topic. And it's really interesting to see the numbers of where they are, and also to think about at the end of the day, does your thought change on that? But anyway, so 2 minutes. Talk about these 2 questions within your group. Go. Okay, guys, the time is up. So within your group, I want you, of course, to designate a spokesperson, because we're going to share out really, really quick. Really quick, just to sum up what you guys talked about on this. So we'll just start back here with eligibility, and actually probably need the microphone. Okay, real quick, eligibility. Okay.
I see without that, the others.
Okay, without eligibility, the co-teaching, opportunities to respond, and what was that one?
Present level.
Present levels don't really matter. You have to be eligible. And for me in preschool, they have to be eligible to come, because if they're not 4, or if they don't have some kind of special education qualification, they don't get enrolled in preschool.
Very good point. Thank you. So you got to have the eligibility before the other stuff happens. Good point. Good point. Okay. What about this group over here? Who's my spokesperson?
The present levels, I don't know if I need that or not, but we had present levels, and we talked some about that you have to know where the kid's at in order to see growth. And we had trouble coming up with a success story. We thought kind of the opposite, that if we didn't know the present levels, you're setting yourself up for failure.
That very good point. Very good point. You have to know where your students are in order to meet those needs. You are absolutely right. Okay, OTR people.
Okay. We talked about how the opportunities to respond build on experiences with those students, and we connect with them, and then they are able to learn because of our connections and our response. And we talked about immediate feedback, how it's really important to, sit there with them and show them what they're working on and what they're messing up on, so that we can correct it right then and not worry about them doing it wrong again and again.
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. Good job. Okay, who's my people? Okay. And this is co-teaching.
Okay. So co-teaching is very important because, the number one strive in special education is to educate our kids in their least restrictive environment with general ed kids. And teachers have to use their common planning to get on the same page, to differentiate instruction, because you have so many different learning styles within the classroom. And, some days we hit it, some days we don't. And the days we don't, you just got to start over and regroup and replan and get back with that. So I just think that's the biggest thing with co-teaching, is presenting lessons that every child in the classroom can learn from.
Gosh.
You all had some really good conversations, guys. So now what you guys have just done is you've had a preview of the whole day. And so now, as we go through the day, you guys are going to be able to see how each of these pieces come together to create a full success for your students within your classroom so that you can have those improved student outcomes. Okay, thank you. You guys can come back to your seat. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being here. So what we're going to be talking about is we're going to very briefly be talking about opportunities to respond. And we're going to be looking at some verbal responses. We're going to look at nonverbal responses, and we're going to be talking a little bit about written responses. And I gave you you should have some a guided notes page, I guess you could say, on your desk or with you. I handed out earlier, so follow along with this if you wish. So the first thing, though, the first activity that we're going to do is you are going to take 1 minute. Think 1 minute, then you're going to write for 1 minute, and then you're going to share out at your table for 1 minute, and then we're going to share it aloud with everyone. All right? So first thing, and what I want you to think about is what are single words, not big long definitions, but what are some words that you could use to describe what an opportunity to respond is? How would you define opportunity to respond, and why do you think it would be beneficial to use in a classroom? All right, ready? So think for a minute, no writing yet, pencils down. Thank you. So let me find my timer. At your desk, the person sitting beside you or closest to you, whatever, just 1, 2, 1, 2. Pick that person and discuss with that table as a group what words you came up with to help describe what an opportunity to respond is. What are some words that you came up with to come up with a definition? 1 minute. Excellent job. Thanks, everyone, for raising your hand and paying attention. Appreciate it. All right, so we quickly did a little brainstorming. We did a little, I guess we could call it a mind dump or brain dump, whatever you want to call it. Everything you know in a minute. Well, that was 37 seconds too long for me, so I mean, it could have been done really quick. But anyway, all right, so my table back here. So give me a couple words. Now what we're going to do is we're going to share out briefly, quickly, and we're going to try to develop or come up with an idea of a definition, a working definition that we can use in our classroom and in our applications of opportunities to respond. I mean, we could, Google big fancy ideas or Gemini or Chat GPT, but let's get a working definition. What can we agree on that an opportunity to respond is, and how can we work that into our classroom setting? All right, so this table back here first. Give me a couple, 3 words that you would use in a definition for opportunities to respond. Nice and loud, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
We came up with sharing, differentiating, like based on student interest, and engaging.
Oh, I love the different depending on student interest. I love the way you took that into account, because that's one thing that we'll think about too when you're providing students with opportunities to respond. What are some ways, or what are some things that they're interested in, and what are some of their learning styles and their learning strategy? What are some strategies we can use to address their learning style? So I like the way you said differentiate it. It's not the same for everyone, but everyone can gain some benefit from using opportunities to respond. Yes, sir. Back table over here, please.
If it's more.
Pass the mic.
Well, we also listed the 3, the verbal, the nonverbal, and the written responses are 3 opportunities to respond. And we said engagement also. What else did we say?
Without interruption.
Oh, yeah. Actively engage without interruption.
I love the way you said engagement, active communication, just a back and forth with the kiddos, like you said, without interruptions. I like the way you said. And then you mentioned the three types of opportunities to respond. We have verbal, we have nonverbal, and then we have gesture or what's it called? Written. The nonverbal would be the gestures. I know what I'm talking about, people. Trust me. All right, this group back here, please.
It's like a hot potato.
Don't be shy.
Written, nonverbal, and verbal.
Excellent. Right. Very good. Thank you.
We had wait time, allow wait time, kids have a voice, and it's student led.
What was the last one?
Student led.
Student led?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I like that. Yes, I like that. A lot of times we get into doing things the way we think that the students like. And then if you survey or ask the students, they might say, no, that didn't work out at all for us. What else can we do differently? So I like the way you say they're student led. Good. Yes.
Also, we talked about like immediate corrective feedback, a way to give immediate feedback to the kids.
Yes, immediate corrective feedback, positive. Make sure your feedback is positive. Even when you're making those corrections, make sure it's in a positive way that you can build that relationship with your students. Yes.
So just to type all of ours into just a number. So engagement, focus. I really like pause. I thought that was important. Viewpoint, collaborate, and interest. So student interest.
Yeah.
Trying to do one word.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that just a little bit, because when you're developing your opportunities to respond, you have to look at what are students interested in. And we'll talk about the way our kids are more interested in what impacts me locally right now instead of state, national, world image. What is going on right now in my world right here that impacts me now? And that's what we need to try to draw some of our lessons on, is what's going on in that kid's life that affects them right now immediately. And then what are some opportunities to respond? How can they show what they know without the traditional paper pencil test type stuff? Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Yes.
I did mine sort of different. I said group, individual, and speech.
And what was the last one? Speech. Okay. So small group, whole group, individual. Yes. Yes, they are several different opportunities or different strategies you can do to address whole group, small group, individual. Thank you. Yes.
And we did frequent, opportunities, and then questions.
All right. Frequent. Yes. Okay. Then we'll talk about some of the research says recommends 3 to 10 opportunities to respond per minute. So, someone said, you mean to tell me if I have an 80-minute block, I should have 240 opportunities to respond, up to 800? And I was like, well, you're not going to implement that strategy the full 80 minutes. It's for a certain amount of time. You set that amount of time that you want to implement this strategy. Say, for instance, if we're using closed reading, how long is that going to be in that classroom? How long am I going to do that? And so, and it should be 3 opportunities per minute for a set time limit, not the entire class, because that would be difficult. 240, or if you got a 90-minute block, that's, even more. So, all right, sorry.
It's okay. I said self-talk, peer talk, check for understanding, and then giving students that time to respond instead of just cutting them off.
Oh, love that. Give them time to respond. Yeah. And sometimes we got to think about, I think someone said something about wait time. We got to look at wait time with our normal, regular ed kiddos or whatever. What is it? 3 to 5 seconds, usually the wait time. With our special ed kids, it may be 5 to 15 to 20-second wait time. Even though opportunities to respond are supposed to be rapid fire, really quick, you still got to take into account that wait time. If I was doing like the little activity we did, if I'd said, all right, I want you to write it down. And I didn't, I give you the question and I didn't say, all right, take a minute to think. Some of us may take it a little bit longer to process the question and what were the instructions. And I may only have 15 or 20 seconds to write while everyone else has a minute. You know what I'm saying? So you got to look at that wait time and determine what's appropriate for your kiddos. All right. Awesome. All right. Great job, folks. Let's see what we come up with. One of our, the researchers, come up with was an OTR is a strategy designed to offer students frequent opportunities. I think someone said frequent opportunities, plenty opportunities. Also, it is within a set time period. Like I was saying, we can't do the same thing the entire time period. So maybe we do closed reading for 20 minutes or 10 minutes, and we take a break. We do an activity the students individualize, then we come back and maybe do some choral reading or something like that for another few minutes. But we change up our presentation and our opportunities as much as possible. And it is an opportunity for students to actively engage in the learning. All right, so now that we got kind of a definition, and we use several of the words, and I love the words and the phrases that you use to determine or to describe what an opportunity to respond or how that works for you. Now think about, with your group really quickly right now, I'll give you 1 minute at your table. Why do we want to provide students with opportunities to respond, or what are the benefits? What are some of the things I see as far as providing students with differing opportunities to respond? All right. And like I said, table, 1 minute, and go. All right, folks, everyone come back together, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for raising your hand, paying attention. All right, so let's start over here with our friends at the front table. Just give me one reason why opportunities to respond will be beneficial.
To check for understanding and their ability to recall information.
I like that. Check for understanding. Right. For not only the students' understanding, but check for your understanding too, to see if that activity did what you meant it for it to do with your students. Right. Thank you. Yes.
Avoid predictability.
Pardon, one more time.
Avoid predictability.
Unpredictability. Right. We gotta keep them on their toes, I guess you could say. Thank you.
Increase student confidence.
Oh, love it. Increase student confidence. That's right. So when we're providing with opportunities to respond, let's make sure that when we start our kiddos out with something new, that is something that they're going to be successful at. Because if you start me out in something that I can't do, guess what? I can't do the first one. I'm sure not going to be able to do anything else. So I'm done. I quit, right? And how many of our kiddos get that into their head and get that mindset that I'm done, I can't do anything? All right. Sorry. All right. Thank you. Good job. Yes.
One of the things we talked about was to give them respect, to allow them to show, what they know. And
I like that. It differentiates the instruction, differentiates how they can show you what they know, and plus the respect thing. I think, and I hadn't thought about that, but that's really good, because that respect goes a long way in building that relationship. And you know what? When you build a relationship, what happens? Student behavior improves, classroom management problems decrease. I mean, you build that trust and that relationship. Good job. Thank you. Yes.
We kind of discussed about how it gives them equal opportunity on the side of special ed. It allows them to feel inclusive. So,
I'm after we get through with this, I won't even have to do anything else. Great job. I love the inclusion and inclusivity. Yes, that's a big fancy word. I'm proud of myself.
We talked about the fact that it was like a frequent and quick way to be able to assess and give a variety of ways to assess. So.
Yes, awesome. I love that. Yes, use it formative. Yes.
We talked about how them being engaged in different ways is going to help them
memory.
Okay, memorization. Yeah, being engaged helps with that memory. Yes, and there's some opportunities to respond you provide for your students for new materials. A lot of opportunities to respond you use in order to review material. So, and it helps, like you said, it helps them to memorize material and to learn content as well. Thank you. Yes.
We talked about how it gives students opportunities to share and hear different ideas.
share and hear different ideas and perspectives. And yes, that goes back to doing that social emotional learning. It goes back to building that relationship with those kids, not only with the students, but with the teacher, but with the students as well. Yes.
We said it was a good way for students to process, connect, and retain the content.
Awesome. Process, connect, and retain. Thank you. Great job, folks. Wonderful job. All right, let's see what I come up with. I said it increases student engagement, and with increased engagement, we're going to increase on-task behaviors. And when we increase on-task behaviors, what do we decrease? Right. The inappropriate behavior, the unwanted behaviors, the competing behaviors, whatever you want to call it, behaviors of concern, whatever. Yes, we have those behavior difficulties in our classroom. Another thing is supports diverse learners. I think someone said it is more individualized. Improves classroom behavior, equity, inclusion. Thank you. Enhances teacher insight. It helps you to learn a little bit more about your kiddos and what they like and how they respond, so that you can use that in future lessons and material that you cover. So, pretty close? Well, that's pretty close ideas, right? We ready? And thanks everyone for participating and providing your answers. I appreciate it. So there's 6 elements for effective use of OTRs. And now I want you to say the words that are in red, okay? So we're going to ask what? That are relevant. Ask academic questions that are relevant to that student at that time in their life, and is relevant to their needs. Okay, so you're going to ask questions about your topic or your content that are relevant to that student right then and right there. Okay, so think about that. Think about how are we going to ask questions, and how are these questions going to be relevant to what our kiddos need to know. As we go out and do some math walkthroughs and things like that, and they're always talking about, the standard is referred to. You state the standard before the class, tell why it is important. Why are we learning to do this? And then you revisit that standard throughout the lesson, okay? So you need to let the kiddos know why they are learning the content that they're learning. And don't just say, it's on the test, so give them relevant information. All right, so, and I think we're going to incorporate what? And into asking questions. Incorporate variety and unpredictability. If I come into class, and I hope you don't, but sometimes we get caught in that routine, come into class and I lecture, and I walk off and say, all right, do these first 4 problems on page 3. You got 15 minutes, I'll be back, we're going to go over these, right? And then sit down, and that was it. If I change my approach, or I change my technique, or I change my questioning and provide some unpredictability in there, the kids are more apt to be engaged, because they have to pay attention to what's going on in order to be able to answer when called upon. And if I use the same routine, it's like active supervision. If you walk the same pathway every day, guess what? Pretty soon the kiddo's going to figure out how you walk, and they're going to be doing stuff away from your pathway, right? So just like that with those behaviors, what is it how can I incorporate that variety and unpredictability? Next one is, what's the first word? Interest, the class, and predictability. Thank you. One more time, everyone, please. All right, thank you. What? Challenge, the class, and all right, thank you. Come on now, y'all got to get lively. Shoot, we're winding down. So ask group and individual students OTRs at a what? Brisk pace. We want a pace that is quickly, like I said, 3 to 10 per minute throughout the designated time. So you got to have a brisk pace. And some of our kiddos, if you got that brisk pace, they have to pay attention or do a little bit more. They're engaged with their work a little bit longer. So it's easier to keep those behavior difficulties from occurring. And then we're going to ensure all students. Someone said inclusion. I love the way you said it included all students. Use an opportunity to respond that all students are going to be successful using or be able to participate in. And when we ensure, don't use an opportunity to respond as a gotcha moment. Don't call on those kiddos that are off task or whatever, because all you're going to do is embarrass them, right? And then what happens? And then you got to show, because when you embarrass a kid, especially middle high school kid, in front of their peers, you know what that leads to. So just be aware of that and ensure that all students have those same opportunities. And then use level of student accuracy to inform instruction. Thank you. Right. So I'm going to use my opportunities to respond as a, what's it called? Not a cumulative assessment, but what is formative assessment? Thank you. Formative assessment. I can quickly walk around, or if we're using whiteboards to flash a number up on, I can quickly see who understands that topic or who's got that answer correctly, or and if more than or if less than 80% miss a question, then you need to go back and revisit that question and reteach that material because the students aren't catching it. Okay, so you can use that as a way to decide what are to help you inform your instruction. And then again, also, if you ask them a survey or a question, then they can tell you if they like that activity or not. And if they didn't do it, so guess what? We're not going to do it again, right? Because you want to make school exciting and fun for your kiddos. All right, so this time we're going to do choral reading. Everyone together. Identify instructional goal. Everyone, one more time. Identify instructional goal. Great. So we're going to have to come up with a goal. What is the main goal that we're going to be working on when we're developing our opportunities to respond? Okay, so if I'm working in a math classroom, what opportunity to respond, and I'm working on single-digit multiplication. Okay, how can I get the kiddos to show me that they understand that concept and they know what they're doing by different opportunities that we provide them with to respond to? And we'll talk about those in a little bit when we get a little activity later on. But so you got to identify that goal. What is the reason for my questioning? How am I going to ask questions, and what is the need of that questioning? Then everyone, prepare a list of questions and thank you. One more time, everyone, please. Prepare a list of questions and possible responses. Right. So we want to have an idea of what questions we're going to ask to start with. We're not just going to go in and just start throwing questions out and hoping the kiddos, know what you're talking about and know how to respond. We have to know what the questions are going to be, and we're going to have to know, all right, so what opportunity do I have will match this question? Is this something I could use a thumbs up or a thumbs down with? Is this something I can use finger voting with? Is this something that I could use, if it's true, stand up, if it's false, stay seated? What are some way that I can respond to those questions, and what are some possible answers I will take as answers to the questions that I'm asking? Then we're going, everyone, teach
students how to respond.
Right. So, if I just walked by and threw everyone a one of these whiteboards out, and that was it, I didn't do anything else or didn't tell you anything about that, we wouldn't know how to use that tool, correct? So our kiddos would be using that tool by drawing pictures or whatever, so you just have to teach the students how to respond. How are you going to respond? Okay, just like when we came in today, as being in my class, when I raised my hand, I had to teach you that. So if you're going to teach your kiddos, if you agree, thumbs up. If you disagree, thumbs down. And then you present a question. The sky is green. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Right, everyone? Okay. Yeah, okay. I got confused with my own question. Sorry, I was thinking, all right. So the sky is blue, everyone. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Go. All right. Okay, good. All right. And then after you do that, after you teach them how to respond, you have to model that behavior and give them several opportunities to practice that response and that action so that you can tell quickly if they get it or not. All right, everyone together, ask a question, wait for a response, provide feedback, and repeat. Very good. So we have to ask the question. Then you said our wait time. Give them give them 3 to 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, depending on your kiddos and how quickly they process information, and then provide them, let them respond, and provide them with feedback. Why do we want to provide them with feedback quickly after a response? Why not? Oh, no, that's wrong. We'll talk about it later. Why not provide that feedback to them then? So, what is the advantages of providing that instant feedback?
Feedback, just so that you can give them, show them what they're doing right, but also if it's incorrect, they can fix it before they start practicing it wrong.
Yeah, I thought I heard the word misconceptions involved when that was shared or something like that. So, right, excellent. Yes, when you're practicing, you give them many opportunities to practice, but you have to have them practicing the correct stuff. Can't have them practicing in, those incorrect activities. So good. Right. So you give them that immediate feedback so that they're not, they don't continue on with that misconception. All right, everyone, provide
Opportunities to reflect on learning.
All right. So provide students opportunities to reflect on their learning. Did they like that activity? Was it something that they could take back with them, they could use again? Is it something that helped them retain that information? So help them reflect on their learning and provide them with that opportunity to also. This is that chance where they can tell you if they enjoyed this activity or not. Like the closed reading thing. It was hard. I couldn't keep up. Choral reading. I enjoyed that because everyone read together and I wasn't embarrassed when I came to a word that I couldn't say correctly or something like that. So, look at that, reflect on their learning and see what they thought. All right. So now we're going to do a quick activity and we're going to take a time out, about a 2-minute break while we get set up. Great job, folks. I love the way that it was cool. Thanks
for giving us the opportunity.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you. I enjoyed that activity. We did that earlier, and that activity kind of lets you brainstorm a little bit. Plus, it keeps your kiddos in line waiting to go up and write. It's got them thinking about what am I going to write down. Maybe if they get my idea, maybe I have to write something else. So it's a really cool way to do like some brainstorming. And you could use it as a review as well, I'd imagine. But anyway, awesome job. Thank you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the All right, so I'm going to flash up some opportunities to respond. You think about your map, your posters. Someone from your team, at your team, we should have done this before, but your team, pick a spokesperson and one person go up to each poster that was on that team. It doesn't matter who, just somebody jump up, run up, stand by your poster because we're just going to compare, okay? It doesn't matter. Just put a circle or check. So all you need to do is you need to take a marker. And I'm going to show some opportunities to respond up here. If you have that one, please circle that one on your chart. If not, then and after we get through talking about the ones I've got, if you've got something different, which I'm sure you will have, then you'll share what that is and how to use that in your classroom. Okay? Any questions? All right. So our verbal opportunities to respond, some that we have been using, we've done a little bit of choral reading, as that's where everyone reads together, correct? Is that right? Thank you. And we've done some closed reading. That's when I would read a part and then you read the red words or the underlined words. Thank you for doing that. This PALS stands for Peer Assisted Learning Strategy. I had to look that up. So if you got any of these, please circle those on your chart. If you don't have any of these, awesome. So what are some that you have under verbal that we don't have?
We have a lot of tagging strategies up here. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
And I was trying to think what it would. I think that these would all fit under something that you have up here.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And Miss Melissa?
Yeah. We just have like ask and answer questions, summarize, single word responses, oral response. We do have choral.
Yeah, I like the single word responses because when we get to written, we can look at how do we use this paddleboard for a response, and it should be single word responses that everyone is going to have the same answer. I couldn't say, all right, everybody write down how many years experience you got on your paddleboard, and then everybody hold it up, and I could do a quick assessment and say, yeah, everybody knows that, because it's not all the same answer. You see what I'm saying? If you use those paddleboards for those quick answers, make sure it's something short, sweet, and everybody's going to have the same answer. Just stand right there. You're not through yet. Yes, sir.
I'm not sure what goes under what up there, but we wrote say yes, no, answer aloud. So I guess that's kind of what we did earlier. Like a yelling out like 1, 2, that kind of deal right there, rating 1 through 5.
Okay, good. Oh, I like the rating thing. You could do that verbally, or you could do that with gestures as well. Just make sure. Yeah. Good job. Say where you at, please. Yes, ma'am.
We have like asking questions, the thumbs up and thumbs down, group discussion, turn and talk, and the inferred. Yeah.
What was the last one?
Inferred.
Inferred.
Yeah.
Okay. Explain. Somebody who put that in up there?
Put that up there.
All right.
I mean, you can imply that you need a response. Whenever you're communicating with kids, to give them opportunity to respond, because a lot of times you can see that expression within them that they have something to add to the conversation.
They just can't get it out.
Well, yeah, and so I can guide that in my instruction. That's what I'm looking for.
Cool. I like it. I love it. It's kind of verbal guided notes. Yeah. Awesome. Good. I like it. Good job. Thank you. All right. So now what are some nonverbal strategies that we come up with? Hey, let's start over here, Will, since you won't have to walk as far this time. That was nice of me, wasn't it?
Here we go here. We have 4 corners, assistive technology, thumbs up, thumbs down, hard gesture, stamps, and raise hand.
All right, good. 4 corners. Whichever one, like they did this morning, whichever one of these signs resonate with you or whatever. Is that it? Which one are you here? Which one are you most comfortable at? And then go to that corner. Good. Good job. Thank you. Yes.
We got thumbs up, thumbs down, raising your hand, patting your head, 4 corners, blink, stand up, stand down, happy face, brownie face, and clapping too.
Cool, like it, love it. Thank you. I like the gestures because there's several different gestures that you can use to show agreement or disagreement, things like that. All right, yes.
We also have the thumbs up, thumbs down, and I guess the only new one that we have is dry erase boards. I don't think anybody else wrote that over there. I don't think I heard it.
Yeah, we might have put that somewhere besides where you put it. So
put it both.
Okay, you put it both. That works, and that counts. That should be 2 then. That's 17, not 16. Yes, sorry.
Elizabeth, our HI person, she put sign language on here. And we also have visual cards and clap once, clap twice.
Awesome. Oh, yeah, visual cards. I like the visual cards, visual cues. Good, good. And the last one, go ahead, start back there and work your way around.
I got to see what you have up there. We have exit tickets and like a smile or a sad face and Post-it notes.
I like the Post-it notes. Use those for behavior too. Just write a quick note on a Post-it note, drop it on the kid's desk, keep on walking. You know, it's private, it's individualized, it's quick, done. There you go. And do it for encouragement. All right.
We had we had dry erase boards and whiteboards.
Thank you.
And index cards.
Index cards. I like the index cards. Cool. Yes.
We wrote down short essay, formative assessment, whiteboards, short answer, or a picture.
Picture. I like the picture. Draw a picture. Good. And
we wrote down essay questions. We got some specifics at small dry erase boards, Padlet answer questions, true, false, written responses, and fill in the blank. So like guided notes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Great job. Appreciate the way you answered and participated. I love the Padlet. I just seen that done, and that is really cool. As a last quick thing, this is for you. This is for your own thoughts. This is you don't have to share this out with anyone. What I want you to do, I guess your exit ticket, is complete this real quickly. So anyway, what OTRs did you experience? What are some of the things that we did together? And like I said, we're not going to do every OTR for the whole time because 3 to 10 or 3 per minute for about 10, 15 minutes. Then how can you incorporate new or different OTRs into your classroom? And thank you again for being so attentive and for participating and for being here. Awesome job. Appreciate it.
Okay, how many of you guys have heard of building thinking classrooms? You're like, I thought I was building a thinking classroom. So I want you to stand up, leave everything at your seat, and come gather around me like you actually like me. Okay? So come on, gather around. No, nobody's getting naps today. So in building thinking classrooms, this is Peter Lilydall's work, and he has been doing research for many, many years. And when I say many years, he did 14 years of on his own and then another 10 with another lady that they've been working on, and they're still going on. So in building thinking classrooms, one of the things that we do is we engage the students the entire time in opportunities to respond to each other and to the math. Okay? Now, everybody who saw me today, I said, don't take away the math if they can't read. And so one of the things he says is always read the problem to them. Always read the problem and give them a chance to think. So, and he does it with everybody standing. Why do you think we do it with everybody standing? Huh? Okay. You're focused. What else? Blood's not flowing to your bottom. Blood's flowing to your brain. When we're standing, blood's flowing better to your brain. So this summer, I got the wonderful ability to go to Alaska, see some beautiful places up in Alaska, and I did a lot of trails and those kind of things. And while we were in Alaska, like I said, waterfalls are beautiful. If you ever get a chance to go, please go. It's one thing you won't regret. So, in the very top part of Alaska, there is a culture that is dying out. One of the things that had died out was most of the language there from their earlier parts of their culture, and also their number system. Now, while we were there, one of the things that we figured out was they were a tribe that was there prior to, that's totally extinct now, but they had left all kinds of writings and things. And we had a group of middle school students there in Alaska who wanted to find out what was so important about this tribe. So in Alaska, this group of middle school students decided, and I cannot say this name, I tried. There is some kind of a accent to that I could not do. So it's a group of middle school students, and they realized that their language for counting didn't match the Hindu Arabic language system that was commonly used, which is our 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And so they set out to make their own number system to match this language that they had to see if they could actually figure it out. And so there's several articles on this, and if you want the whole thing, I will give it to you gladly. Just email me. So, using the clues, I want you to determine all of the number systems from numbers 1 through 20, and they're represented here. Now, other numbers that you can come up with after you do numbers 1 through 20 is the number 30, 39, and 123. So, do I have any clarifying questions about this problem right now? I will give you a hint that the top one right there with the 1 plus 1, that's exactly what that says is 1 plus 1. Okay? So we did put back in the addition and the multiplication the way we see it and the subtraction the way we see it. Okay? But those are numbers. And so I want you to figure them out. Here's the key. You're going to work in groups of 3. You may be in groups of a pair because of the number that we have. When you go to the station that you picked a card for, as you'll notice, we've got aces here, and it goes around the room. You'll see the cards there. Find the number that correlates to you. If it's a jack or an ace, then you'll go to those stations. Now, here's the deal. If you are holding the marker, Miss Brenda Combs will be giving you a marker. If you're holding the marker, you cannot talk. You can only write down what everybody else is talking about. If you think they are wrong, switch the marker off. Have a nice conversation. And I always say it that way to my kids too. A nice conversation about why you think it is incorrect. Well, I feel that it is incorrect because give them a sentence starter. They need it sometimes. So give them a sentence starter and let them do this. So come, grab a card, or I'll start passing out cards. Grab a card out. Yeah. Pass out some cards here. Grab a card. Grab a card, go to your station. Miss Brenda will be there and she'll hand a marker. If you have the marker, you can only write what everybody else is thinking in your group.
Sorry, they drove me over. I didn't mean to. I'm an EBD child.
I'm going to stick her outside the door for a while. Let the principal deal with her.
I'm getting ready to manipulate the problem.
Okay, let's come back together, everybody, to the squishy middle. Everybody up to the squishy middle. Leave your markers at the place. Leave your markers at the place. Everybody here, come on. Can you turn that off? Come on, act like you like me again. I know you're concentrating on the math. Can you stand over there and actually do what I hit the button when I ask you to do it? Thank you. All right, come on, back up. I got some EBD kids in the back here. Not coming. Okay, so when you were working on this problem, and some people are still working on this problem, how did you feel? Perplexed, confused. What else? Was it interesting?
Oh, no, great.
Yeah, I forgot your card somehow. I don't know how I did that. If I forgot your cards, you can give them to me. One of the things that we know about building thinking classrooms is we always start with a story, okay? I gave you a story behind the fact that I went to Alaska, found out about this great stuff. These kids are doing this. One of the problems we had down here was right here. I was walking around and I noticed something. What was this symbol here? That's not greater than. No. It's a what? 10. Right? Is that what you said? It was a 10? 10 times 2, which makes it what? 20. So this answer was actually 20. And what is this symbol here? An 8. And this is subtracting 8, which makes this a 0. Here's the thing. Everybody got, and they got back here, number 9. Let's look, everybody look back here at number 9. Number 9, you said that the 30 back here, at first you said that was 30, and I said, no, that's not 30. So what did you have back there?
Just the B.
It was
just the down and up.
Yeah. So she said it was down and up. So you've changed it. That's not 30 either. So, how would I write 30, do you think, based on what you know right here?
0.
Oh, you think maybe the H looking one? Okay, what if I tell you that these Alaskans actually had a base 20? They thought a whole person come with 10 fingers and 10 toes, and to be whole and to be a base, you had to have 20 digits. And so it's a base 20. Based on a base 20, now that you know that, and thinking about our base 5, what would 30 look like? You would have 120, and how do you make a 10? Yeah, so you would have the line for the 1 in the tens place, and then you would have what? The 10, which is the greater than sign, right? In this case, that's what 30. Okay?
I wonder.
So it's a base 20. Now, I could have shown you base 5 prior to this, before you got started into this, and you might have got it quicker, right? But the first question I was asked the first time I did this was, how do you write 243? I don't know. I haven't got to 20 yet, right? So this is a base 20 system, and that's the reason why it is. Now, if you'll click, I can give this sheet to you as an individual. Would you have got it easier as an individual or working in groups? Yeah, groups. Did you have a lot of good conversations? Did you change some answers? Yeah. Now, go to the next one. If you want the answers, right here's all the answers. And like I said, it's a base 20. And so here's your answers to a lot of other questions that you can have, and then you can come up with more on your own.
So we're going to talk a little bit about co-teaching right now. And so we've been thinking about this, and I challenge you all to think about this too. We now in special education, we're always trying to figure out that balance, a balance about that serving children in the resource room, how we help deliver and support in the co-teaching setting, right? We're always working on that balance, right? Every day we're trying to figure out where are we at and what can we do and how do we support the kids and how do we with the absence of our most valuable resources, time, right? So it's really hard to balance it. And so we've trained co-teaching, we've done co-teaching for a long time. Talking about the 6 co-teaching practices is not what our time should be spent on. So now let's think deeper about it. And I'm going to challenge you all to think about this. But, like, how many people are familiar with the high quality instructional resources, right? How many districts are working and using high quality instructional resources? So most of our districts have selected these instructional resources, and they're really just resources that are, curriculum that is aligned with the Kentucky academic standards, that have pacing and kind of follow scope and sequence, right? And they're the resources that accompany. That'll be your Eureka Math, that'll be your Amplify Science, it'll be whatever you're using in reading. So that's what we're talking about, those instructional resources. And if we're following those maps and thinking about the curriculum and those grade level standards that our kids in the co-teaching setting are in those classrooms, we're challenged with that level of teaching, with that pacing. How do we modify or integrate specially designed instruction into what we do every day, right? So I challenge you to think about that a lot too, because that's where we're at everywhere, state, nationally. How do we deliver our specially designed instruction in that co-teaching setting? So for today, we're going to do stations. We're going to move through stations. We're going to engage in some station work, and we're going to think about the application of that to what we do every day. I got a couple things I want to share with you before we get started into our co-teaching. So this one came from the work of Dr. Marilyn Friend, and it's really just, I'm not going to teach about the 6 co-teaching practices, right? We've heard those and we understand and we know what they are. What I will say is the approach you'll see this far left column is the approach. So that's our station teaching, our parallel teaching, our alternative teaching, right? And those are kind of ranked in order of most effective. So we think about station teaching, and that's one of the most effective, and that's what we're going to do today. And you use station teaching when you're going to reinforce or differentiate, right? So you think about how much time, the purpose. Parallel teaching, we select the teaching model based on the learning standard and the content that we're addressing at that time. If we're introducing something or we're doing some more practice, parallel teaching is a beautiful blend of having two teachers teach that lesson, right? Because if you're parallel teaching, you're teaching the same content to two different groups. It's like dividing this room in half and two teachers teaching that. So it's a good use of our instructional time. It's the next highest yielded instructional strategy. And then we have alternative teaching. And an alternate or alternative teaching, it's a great one for differentiation and an intervention. So alternative teaching is when we have one teacher that's leading the instruction, but another teacher is pulling kids back to a small group. Now, that's not just pulling all the IEP kids back to the back of the room, right? Because that's been happening. I mean, I remember it happening when I was still in the classroom. But that's when we're pulling those small groups back. But there's an opportunity that we can use there for that small group. We could maybe pre-teach. I'm going to ask you to look for any of that you might see today. I'm going to look for you to think about remediation. Kids who we need to reteach a lesson to, we could pull them back to that teacher station. And then the other group of kids that could benefit from that are those kids who need advancement or enrichment, right? How do we get to those kids that are gifted? How can the regular ed teacher do some challenging work for them? You can use an alternative teaching model. So those are the most effective. And so we looked at the highest performing districts in Kentucky, and we talked to the superintendent and said, what do you do about co-teaching? Why are your scores so high? And he said, we select two models and we implement them with fidelity. We do them every day with fidelity. And the top two that they were selecting was station teaching and parallel. Those were the two that they used all the time. That's the only two they selected. And so they had the highest scores and the highest performance in the state. Now, the team teaching is a great time when two teachers are teaching back and forth, right? We're teaching back and forth and we're helping to deliver that instruction. And it is fantastic if we're introducing a new concept or we're talking about a learning. We're looking at our learning intentions and our standard. It's a fantastic time to use that. The one teach, one observe is great for us. If we're thinking about that data collection, we're looking at formative data. You can use that if you're collecting behavior data. Right? We have a child that we're looking at time on task. It's a great way to spend, 5 or 10 minutes getting time on task. But you'll see we should only be using those things just a small period of time during that lesson. But what sometimes happens is that we default back to this same one right here, one teach, one assist. It's what we know. That's the one that it was been kind of the one we started with, and it's real hard. And you all know every day how hard it is to co-plan and to coordinate and to think about that lesson design. But we're in a very different time with such expectations for our students and the challenge that we have to advance them as far as we can take them, right? That's our challenge, is to move kids as far as we can, even if a child has a disability. Because when they graduate, we want them to be productive citizens, right? That's our whole goal. So just looking at these co-teaching practices, I just want you to think about that. But I think the purpose and understanding when to do those things makes it helpful for us. And you can share that in your PLCs when you're planning with teachers to think about when can we use this and when is it most appropriate, right? Because you can't do 6. You can't do all these all the time. You may be in a class 3 days a week for half an hour, right? 30 minutes a day for 3 times a week. And so what are we going to choose? What strategies are going to be the most effective? So we choose the ones that we know are the highest yielded, right? We're going to get the highest outcomes for those. Any questions about that one? One other thing I want to give you before we start in our next work too is Brenda talked a little bit about this morning with the IEP lesson plan handbook. And so I have some copies of that if anybody wants a copy of that. But I also have the QR code here for you to access it. And I am going to take a minute because I think it's worth our time, but only just a minute. But I want you to see the IEP lesson plan handbook. And this is in your participant folder. It's on that form. Right here, I know Brenda talked about it this morning, and Dean Paul talked about it. Thinking about that considerations. If we have a child with a speech language impairment, or we're looking at listening comprehension, this is the specially designed instruction. Here's the supplementary aids and services, right? So this comes from the schoolhouse document, and this is from the Kentucky Department of Education. It's a guidance document. It's in there, but you can also access it through that QR code. But I'm just going to scroll down for a second because I wanted you to get to see this. Right, here's one for receptive language. There's the academics. So here's our specially designed instruction. What can we do for students if we know that they have trouble with basic reading, right? They qualify for us. We've talked about eligibility. We're talking about how do we know what to do if a child qualifies with a disability in basic reading. Well, here's some of the things that we can provide instruction. Here is a menu of some of the supports that a student might benefit from if they have a disability. Here's one for reading comprehension. And I'm just going to click on through this, but you have this now and you have the QR code. I also have some hard copies here, but I felt like it was a good time to talk about that because that's what our next activity is going to be. What if about a kid that qualifies in math calculation, right? Here's math calculation and reasoning, and it goes on over to the next page. Brenda talked a little bit more this morning about the FMD and MMD eligibility and thinking about those functional skills, right? Task completion, think about our children that have other health impairment. Here is some SDI that you can select for that also. So this is our most recent guidance. It's a little bit old, but it's the one that we have available through KDE, but it's a good one, right? It's still a good one. I always kept this with me when I was working on lesson IEPs. But you'll see following directions. How many kids need some SDI and some support on following directions? Right? So here's that one Brenda was talking about again this morning about the attendance also. How do we address attendance? If attendance is an issue for our student with a disability and attendance is a big issue, we're going to have to address that, right? Here's what we're going to do. So here's some ideas. Certainly not all exhaustive, but I wanted everybody to get to see this before we move to the next activity. What worked well for your experience in that co-teaching? What were some barriers for you as a student with a disability? And how would you adjust that instruction? What should have been different for you as a student with a disability?